I've been a carnivore for 150 days, and that's a pretty long time. Today I'm going to tell you the 10 reasons I think I've been able to last this long and how you might be able to last 150 days and beyond. All right, let's just jump into the very first reason. These are not in order, but the very first reason, actually, I think this is the number. This is number one. We got to focus on this one. Know your why. If you don't know me, my name is Victoria, and I have a YouTube channel called The Few. The Few stands for Fellow Eczema Warriors because I started this channel because I have suffered with eczema my entire life, or eczema, tomato, tomato, my entire life. Like, I've tried everything. It's crazy. And nothing worked. But I felt like even though I've had this disease, I really wanted to teach people to thrive with it because, you know, you still got to live life, and you don't have to live a subpar life just because you have a skin condition. So that was kind of like my heart behind it. I wasn't healed yet. You can go see some of my journeys. I was on Dupixent, then I came off of it. You know, all the stories are here, right? And then I came across the carnivore diet and I decided to try it to heal my skin. But what brought me to that point was I woke up around September 5th with a flare out of nowhere. And my skin was just an absolute mess. And I'm gonna be 40 soon, and I just felt like I've been dealing with this for too long. The doctors tell me there's no cure. And all they want to prescribe me is medication after medication. Perhaps you know the story if you've had, you know, eczema, or to be honest, any sickness. Usually doctors just like give out prescriptions like it's candy. Anyway. So I was just at my wit's end, you know. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Of course, I heard of the carnivore diet. I mean, who hasn't? The Petersons definitely broke the internet with that one many years ago. And I think at that time in my life, it sounded very extreme and kind of unattainable. The diet doesn't sound realistic. Like, you only eat meat. Like, who the heck can only just eat meat? Like, I just didn't think I was one of those people. I didn't see myself doing it, but I did see how it could possibly heal me. But it just wasn't, the why wasn't there. But when I woke up early September, the why was ready. I was so miserable. I just thought, like, I can't keep having these days. If you've had eczema, you know what it's like. You wake up, you have rashes all over. It feels like I'm constantly on fire, or I should say felt like, because as you can see, I'm pretty much almost eczema free now. I was always on fire, or it felt like I had thousands of bugs just crawling all over me. That's how itchy it felt. Like, you guys remember the show Fear Factor? Comment down below. If you know, you're a real one. You know when those people, you submerge yourself into like weird critters or whatever to make all the money? Yeah, that's how I felt, but no money was being made in the process. And so it was miserable. And I just had that day that I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And nothing I eat, nothing is worth this pain. And as I started to research the carnivore diet, I was like, this could be it. This could be the thing, you know, that could do it for me. And so I really do believe when you are going to begin a carnivore diet, you need to have a strong why. It can't just be something kind of shallow, like, and I'm going to say weight loss, okay? Don't shoot me down. Now, weight loss, obviously, there's levels of weight loss, okay? So maybe, of course, if you're in a situation where it's like your weight is literally affecting your entire life, that's a strong why. If you just need to lose 5 pounds, you might not really be, that might not be a strong enough catalyst. That might not be like, okay, this is life-changing. It needs to be desperate. It needs to literally be hitting at your self-worth, who you are. I just felt like I couldn't enjoy my life anymore. I was like, if this is my life, I don't want to live it. That is the type of why you need to define for yourself. And I think then you can get to the 150-day mark, because I don't feel like I have any alternatives here. And now that it's working, I really don't feel like I have any alternatives. Okay, so now bringing me to my number 2, and I feel like it's important for me to disclose this to people because I've had a relatively effortless transition into the carnivore diet because I was keto and like no sugar prior to. So I kind of skipped that whole keto, flu, carb withdrawal, all of that. I probably only experienced that at a very low level because for a whole year prior to me being carnivore, I pretty much didn't eat much carbohydrates. I did eat sugar, but I didn't have a lot of sugar. Like I was eating a sad diet, but I guess it wasn't as sad as it could have been. So, my meals looked like, chicken salad for dinner, yogurt parfaits with like granola and whatever for breakfast. Maybe I would skip lunch, and then, every so often I'd binge on cookies. So that was pretty much my diet. I ate a lot of cheese, a lot of dairy now that I look back, which was detrimental to my skin, but I wasn't eating a lot of carbohydrates before I transitioned into the carnivore diet. And I think that helped me. It helped with my digestion. So I didn't run up against like constipation or diarrhea as a result. My body was kind of like, okay, and I didn't feel the type of sick you feel when you're withdrawing from carbs. I didn't feel amazing. I remember feeling low level, low mood. I had decent energy, but I didn't get that nausea. Sometimes when you cut out sugar, you feel like you're fasting. I didn't feel like that. I just felt like I learned that food really ignites dopamine receptors in your brain. So when I first went carnivore, obviously I wasn't getting sugar from anything, right? So I noticed that my dopamine I just felt kind of flat, but I wasn't feeling like, oh my gosh, I just need to eat a piece of bread. I didn't get that. And I really do think that was because of the fact that I was keto, which allowed for me to do this diet, because those sugar cravings, oh my gosh, they can be so difficult. So if you want to go carnivore, if you're thinking of it, transition to keto first. That's what I would say. Now, moving on to the third thing, and I think this is like, it blew me away, but if this wasn't the case, I probably wouldn't have gotten to 150, the 150-day mark. And it's just that meat satisfies. This is what I always tell people, because they're like, is meat really gonna fill me up? I don't know, meat. Like, it just feels, we don't eat that way. I'm like, you know what? This is just a test for anybody, especially if you're not a carnivore watching this, you're carnivore curious, but just in general, put the meat on your plate first and tell yourself, I'm gonna eat the meat first, and then I can eat whatever I want after. And what you're gonna notice is you're going to be so full before you get to everything else. And a lot of times, when I used to eat, the meat was kind of like the garnish. Like, I wanted the bread, I wanted the pasta, I wanted the rice. Those were the things, even when I was eating keto, I had, for the time that I had salad, I would eat more salad than I would the meat. Meat was not the star player on my plate. But what I realized, when you let meat be the star player, it actually fills you up. Like, I'm so full. My very first day that I ate a whole carnivore, whatever, I couldn't even finish my food. Like, I was just like this is almost too much meat. And the fact that it made me feel full, that allowed me to continue it on, because I just wasn't hungry. I didn't want anything else. And a lot of times we don't continue diets because we're not satiated, we're not full. Like, we're just constantly thinking about other food. But if I eat my full pound I tend to eat a pound of meat at one setting, or like 3/4 of a pound of meat, I can't even think about eating anything else after that. My body's like, you are done, girl. You've eaten enough. And so I truly believe that it's carnivore's ability to satiate you. Like, once you tap into that, you're like, actually, I can do this. It's fine, this eating meat only thing. Okay, so the number 4 thing, and I hear this for lots of people across the board, is that the inflammation in your body drops, and it drops quickly. I didn't even realize how much inflammation I was holding in my body. My ring is actually, like, right now, I think I need to get it resized, but I probably dropped like 3 ring sizes just in like a matter of days. The inflammation I was holding under my eyes, in my face, in my neck, in my hands, probably in my stomach, gone. Just Merry Christmas. Like, the inflammation drops so quickly, and it's encouraging. You know, a lot of times for certain diets, you have to wait like, 30 days to see anything happen, to see, but it's not like that with carnivore. You feel the inflammation drop very quickly in your body, especially depending on the type of inflammation issues you have. I know people who have arthritis issues, like my dad actually, he's had arthritis his whole life. And he started doing carnivore with me, and within a couple of days, he said the pain was gone. The reason he even started to be a carnivore was because of Parkinson's. He didn't even realize that he's been living with pain his entire, like for the last like 40 years until it went down. And now he's like, wow, it just took a couple days. Lifelong rheumatoid arthritis. He's always been having to take pain medication to get rid of that, and it's gone. So I think once you experience that inflammation drop, and for him, I didn't do this, but for him, he, relapsed. And when he relapsed, instantly the pain came back. And I think even though relapses can feel like you're taking 10 steps backwards, it actually can be a step forward because it signals to your brain that what you were doing was working and this is not working. Because if I'm going to do something as crazy as the carnivore diet, it has to work, right? And so once you start to see that inflammation dropping and you're starting to feel better, I'm like, I can keep this. So the next thing that, okay, so every once in a while I do get like a whiff of like Cinnabon in the mall, or walk past the pastry shop. I mean, I'm an extra sugar addict, so I love sugar through and through. Like I'm the one sniffing the gummy bear package because it's like, oh my gosh, I miss gummy bears, right? And so there's of course that temptation, but then I start to realize everyone is sick. I didn't notice this before because I was also one of those sick people, but all I hear on a regular basis is how sick people are. Everybody is always tired, they're always bloated, they always have a headache, they always have this pain, that pain, this, like all the time. And because I'm actually starting to feel so much better, I actually don't experience that stuff. I don't have cramps for my time of the month. I don't have any hormonal things. I'm just like superhuman now. And so I'm not saying this to be a jerk or to flaunt or anything. I really wish everybody could feel as good as I have been feeling. But it's almost become so loud to me how ill everybody is in comparison to how I'm feeling. Of course, I'm not saying just because you're carnivore, you would never get sick or you never have any problems. Definitely not. Please do not take what I'm saying wrong. But day to day, I know if I'm just comparing how I used to feel to how I feel, not even the external feedback, but how I used to feel to how I feel now, I'm like, I am a million times better. Not even just on the skin surface, on the skin side, just in general, mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm just so much better. So that external feedback from others is just a reason to keep going. Because I'm like, you know what? I actually can't afford to be tired at 11 a.m. And if I slept 8 hours, how are we waking up after 8 hours of sleep and still being tired? That doesn't make sense. People are waking up tireder than they went to bed, or not being able to sleep. Insomnia. I don't struggle with insomnia anymore. Or just, my body, I haven't even been working out and I am more toned now than before. What the heck is that? And I'm getting older, so we can't even say like this is supposed to be, my muscle tone should be getting less, and I look like I have a six-pack. Okay, I'm boosting. It's not a six-pack, but my stomach looks toned, right? So that feedback I cannot ignore. I cannot ignore. Moving into my next one, number 6. I think number 6 is something that I used a lot of during the first 90 days. And now I use it because this is the community. But it's YouTube University for carnivore, specializing in the carnivore diet, watching the videos. I used to eat, sleep, and breathe these carnivore videos when I first started. Like my husband would come home and just be like, oh, she's watching the meat videos again. And you have to submerge yourself in this content until it is like coming out of your pores. And you can't just watch one video and think, oh yeah, I'm gonna change. You know, the other day my husband was discussing change and do people really change? And, you know, so sometimes you'll hear something like, for example, habit stacking, and you'll hear, you know, they say if you want to build any habit, stack it with another habit, sure. So let's say I want to, you know, start flossing every day. Well, I should put my floss next to the toothbrush in the morning so that I do both, right? And so, and maybe you start that. And I do think that flossing kind of goes hand in hand with toothbrushing. So maybe that's not the best example, but let's say on top of that, I wanted to stack that I'm going to do jumping jacks. So I kind of put a little visual cue and blah, 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 because jumping jacks are very good for you. It gets your heart rate, blah, you know the drill. All right. I've just read the book, so I'm excited. That's what I'm going to do. Day 1, day 2, day 3, I finished the book now, and something happens on day 4, I get distracted. Day 5, guess who's not doing jumping jacks anymore? The reason why people don't do things consistently isn't for lack of knowledge. We can know things, but our brains need that constant reminder until it literally has become ingrained. Nobody has to remind themselves to brush their teeth. I should hope not, right? That's just a habit that you just naturally have. Okay, but when you build a new habit, it takes a really long time for your brain to catch that it needs to do that. So during that period of time, you have to keep consuming that type of content to build the neuroplasticity, build that pathway. It's like you want to get here and your brain is always going this way, and you're gonna have to slowly dig and dig and dig your way until your brain just naturally goes here, because your brain is always gonna go there. And so that's what kind of happens when you're doing the carnivore diet. You're like, okay, I bought all the meat. I've decided I'm going to be a carnivore. I've watched 2 videos, not just one. I'm good to go. But you know what? Your brain has so much information that will take you the direction of a SAD diet, standard American diet, and not enough information. Even though you kind of know it's just meat, but you need to keep watching those videos. You need to watch the, you know, My Carb Life and the Dave Mack videos and Dr. Chafee, and you need to, even if it feels like repetition, because you're building those neural pathways so that you just automatically carnivore no matter what. And that's how the whole point of this video is, how do you carnivore for 150 days and beyond, right? It's the neural pathway. One video is not going to do it. You are going to have to spend a lot of time either reading books about carnivore or watching content for your brain to keep it up. And, you know, building community, making friends in the chat. Once again, if you are new to this channel, my name is Victoria, and I do all things carnivore. I have a burden and a passion for this diet because it has literally healed me of lifelong sickness. And so if you comment, I will definitely comment back. Community is everything if you want to do anything in the long haul. So let's do this. If you're one of the few, this is the channel for you. Okay, so what I like about this diet, and the number 7 thing that I think has helped me, is that it's easy. It's easy. You have structure without rigidity. You know, some diets, they feel complicated. You know, it's like you're there weighing macros and tracking calories and yada, yada, yada. You don't have to do this. I can eat whatever I want so long as it's meat. That gives me lots of options. There's lots of different types of meat. There's also fish. And for people who are not one of the few in that you're not a fellow eczema warrior, you can probably have dairy too. Sadly, as a fellow eczema warrior, dairy is off the menu. And every once in a while, I rebel against my body and I try to have a little bit of cheese, and then my skin says, oh yeah. And I regret it the next day or for the next few days. So anyway, there are lots of options. So I like that it's simple, but there's still options, and I don't have to, I can just eat until I'm full. I can even eat past full, because for myself, I didn't have a lot of weight that I was trying to lose. I've lost a total of 18 pounds over the last 4.5 months, and I've worked really hard. I probably could have lost more, but I be eating my butter by itself because I'm not trying to lose more. So, and I probably will do a video on this. You actually need to be very careful of how quickly you lose weight, especially as a lady. I guess, side effect that I've heard people talk about during the carnivore diet is hair loss. And I think the reason why when I have looked at the research or looked at some of the stories, there's not a lot of research, but stories of people who have experienced hair loss while carnivore, a lot of the times it's because they lost weight rapidly, and that can cause that in of itself. No matter what diet you're on, if you lose too much too fast, you are susceptible to hair loss. That was for free. I do find this diet very easy. I love that I can make my meal in 10 minutes. Like, it doesn't take long. You know, a lot of other diets, you're there chopping and slicing and preparing this salad and this thing and that, and there's no waste. There's zero waste. My compost bin, there's nothing but bones in there. Like, it's quite easy, very little prep, and that's what you need. In general, in life, we will pick the path of the least resistance. So we have to learn to hack our brains and do the things that are easy. If it's not convenient, I'm not doing it. And I find it very convenient, very easy. I have my go-to meals, and I just eat them on repeat. Number 8. This is a little bit shallow, but what has kept me up until this point, 150 days, and what will keep me beyond is the flat stomach. 40, 3 children, flat stomach. I couldn't ask for more. That is rare. I literally eat whatever I want. I eat bacon for breakfast, like a whole pack. You know, I'm eating spoonfuls of butter. Butter's in my coffee, and yet my stomach is flat. It's never bloated. It's a miracle. Like, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. I don't like feeling like my stomach hurts, and I also do not want to have a bloated stomach. I don't want to have to worry about my muffin top. I did have a muffin top. I've always been relatively slim, but I would say since the pandemic, my weight just hasn't been where it needed to be, and I did have a muffin top. No more muffins here, and we are happy. I'm happy. I love it. You know, it's a huge motivator for you. It could be the weight loss in general. You know, you look back at photos of yourself as now you start to slim down. You're not trying to go back there. It's okay, right? Okay, number 9, 150 days in, I have accountability. And it's this channel. It's this channel. It's everybody that knows me. I'm a pretty vocal carnivore in that all my friends and family know that I'm a carnivore now. It took me a while to get to this point, but people know that this is how Victoria eats. She's a meatitarian. And so it's hard to go back because, well, everyone's watching. You guys are waiting for a video from me once a week. I usually post my videos on Tuesday if you're new to The Few. And so that keeps me. We need accountability in life. Like, you know, it keeps me keeping on because I'm like, people are counting on me. People are watching. My kids are watching. Anytime I even have the slightest non-carnivore thing, I do this thing called taste and spit because sometimes you just want to taste something and then I'll spit it out. And my little son will be like, Mommy, can you have that? Or if I'm drinking like, you know, a soda, you know, like a sugar-free soda, can you have that? Like, yeah, maybe, probably not. So that accountability is a blessing. It can be frustrating, but it does keep me on track. And I encourage you, if you are new, even if you're not new, start a YouTube channel, start a community of carnivores, find friends, find people that can keep you accountable. You are more likely to stick to something if you do it with another person. And there's a whole community here of us that we're all in this together. All right, so this brings me to my number 10. The reason I stick to the carnivore diet, the reason why I could do this for 150 days and beyond, it's because it works. I am healing my lifelong eczema before my eyes. You guys can just literally go and watch the videos. You can see whatever I'm posting on the screen and in the editing. It is obvious. It heals. So the fact that I'm healing, why in the world? I've never healed before. I've tried other diets, I've never healed, and now I'm healing. And so I don't want to go back. Every time that I, you know, maybe yesterday, I'm from Jamaican background, and so we eat something called ackee and saltfish with like fried plantain, and it's delicious. So every once in a while I would have that. I'd have the ackee and saltfish. Ackee is the fruit, and I'd have it with a side of bacon. And so yesterday I also decided to have a few pieces of the plantain with it, right? This morning my skin was drier than usual. Under my eyes felt a bit swollen. My body was saying, relax, Victoria. It will warn me. You know, anytime I have something that's a little bit off, even when I was tasting spitting, I did a lot of that at Christmas time, you know, with the Biscoff cookies and black cake and whatnot. My eyes would start to rumble. Even today, I feel like they're like slightly swollen. That's my body warning me, girl, don't try me. Don't try me. And so that is what keeps me, because I'm enjoying my skin. I'm enjoying, you know, seeing that it's not filled with eczema anymore. I'm enjoying not, you know, oh my goodness, I was around a cat earlier this week and I still had my allergies, but my skin didn't react. I didn't have hives. I didn't get patches of eczema as a result. I was just stuffed up and kind of like watery, itchy eyes, but I didn't react the way I normally did. I can only attribute that to this diet, because any other way I would have been a mess. And so the diet works, right? If that doesn't keep you going, then I don't know what else will. So that about sums up my 10 reasons that I can do carnivore, or did it for 150 days and beyond. And I believe you can do it as well. In my next video, I'm actually going to talk to you about what to do when you get past the honeymoon, because there are many people that are just trying to get through the first 30 to 90 days. But then sadly, a lot of times the drop off can happen after the honeymoon, because it's not as exciting. It's not novel anymore. So I'm going to tell you guys what to do 150 days and beyond in my next video. As usual, subscribe, please. Sharing is caring. Share this with anyone that you know that you think would be interested in this type of information, whether it be a fellow eczema warrior, whether it be someone else that you know that's carnivore, or you think could benefit from the carnivore diet. Sharing is caring. It is so helpful to me to get this information out there. I do this for you because, to be honest, I want you to have a different life just like I have as a result of this diet. Anyway, enough yapping. Until next time, eat meat, drink water. Love you guys.